Something gigantic. Oh, what we got? Let's go look over there. What is that? Is that a shark? It's a dolphin. What a way to start the day, folks. Beautiful dolphin. I mean, I wouldn't tell you if there was an ugly. Oh, there's a bird over there jumping. That was the other sound. He went back. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. I'm listening to the wrong stuff. Get some brightness on so I can see what we're doing here. Look at the dolphins. Beautiful. I think there's more than one. Yeah, there's two right side by side. Do we see them? There they are. Boy, I miss my fluid head on these tripods. They'll come to the other side here. There they are again. Beautiful. There's two of them. Yeah, there's both of them. They were side by side a minute ago. Yeah, one's behind the other, so it's hard to keep them both. There they. Did I mention I'm not a cameraman by trade? Okay. Well, that's enough of those gorgeous critters. We are here to go fishing. So, if you missed yesterday, well, you're just a bad person. Where's that thing I want to hit? There we go. Had to save that highlight. So, let me get this pulled up my laptop or my tablet real quick. I know nobody's in here, so you know, y'all ain't missing nothing. Appreciate everybody when they come in. Watch the beginning, comma. There were a couple of dolphins. Watch the very beginning, comma. There were a couple of dolphins that came up. Okay. So yesterday, I can't remember exact numbers. I want to say I had 3 or 4 hard heads, a couple of sail cats, 2 gar. Didn't even know you could get gar in the saltwater, but turns out where there's a will, there's a way. And since we're talking about wills and ways, I've learned that as soon as you in the stream, before you pull in your last rod, there might be something on there. My last rod last night, Mr. Blue Crab. He made it all the way up here. I don't know if you can hear him. You can hear him kind of gurgling in there saying, "Let me loose, you jerk." There he is. So you got these 2 flappers on the back. They paddles. This thing down the center is the apron. The narrow means it's a male. If a wide one, it means it's female. And if it's got orange on the wide one, then she's an egg-bearing female. Now, I wasn't sure what I was going to do with this guy last night. So I'm like, well, there's just one. And I've got a crab trap out. Guess how many I caught in the crab trap? Was there. Had a crab net all day yesterday. Guess how many I caught there? Same number. Y'all are good at this game. I'm impressed with y'all. Anyway, so as I grab him from behind thinking I've got it good, he grabs my thumb right there. Had a nice little, he drew blood. And that was enough for me to say, nope. I was considering throwing you back out of laziness, but now, no. So yesterday I had the misfortune of running out of pinfish. So I'm going to try to catch some first off this morning. I do have bait over. I already have a couple of croakers, probably a couple of pinfish in my bait bucket. I thought I'd check real quick, see if I can come up with a couple of pinfish before I get things going. Sometimes all you have to do is drop it down and they just smack it right off the bat. That is not their mode of operation for today. So let's get these things a little baited up and out we go. So as you guys may know, if you don't, shame on you. Oh, do please like and subscribe, because you're supposed to say that during every video, because it then people will like and subscribe. It's like they go, ooh, instructions. I like instructions. So I've been catching sail cats and those deck blasted hardheads. I don't want to catch the hardheads. I don't want to catch catfish. When you ain't catching nothing, it's not so bad. This is what, see the cuts on that? That is from last night. That is what the crab did to my bait. And he was live when they did it to him. So needless to say, this pinfish was not a happy camper. I'm not sure how good a bait he's going to be. But right now he's bait. So we'll get him cut up into 3 pieces. I knew he was too big for what I was fishing. I had a 7/0 hook on him. But you can't pick which pinfish bite. So this may or may not be decent bait. I'm leaning towards probably not the greatest. But catfish don't care. Anyway, last night, neighbor came by and he fishes. And he was telling me that, there is no shortage of fish to catch here. Different species. The stuff I'm trying to catch is out here. He said he saw a sheepshead at his dock. And redfish. So, I mean, I knew, there's a plethora of species here. But it was good to hear, even next door, they're over there. And he did tell me I could go fish over there. I could use his crab pots and all that kind of stuff. The problem is that I want to be live streaming. I want you guys to come with me. I don't feel comfortable live streaming off somebody else's dock without them knowing, without their permission. And I didn't mention it. I wasn't hiding it. I just didn't talk about it. I probably, in hindsight, I probably should have asked specifically about that, but I did not. And so here we are. So this still has a gut pocket and everything in it. So at the very least, the catfish should be interested in this. Plus it being expired doesn't bother the catfish at all. I think they prefer it that way. It's like, oh, I don't have to work as hard. So first step is to get some bait out there. Once we get the bait out there, and catch some more bait. Move on with things. I will be checking chat here in a minute. Not ignoring you guys. I just figured that you probably are more interested in watching me catch fish and listen to my mouth. Well, you get to listen to my mouth run anyway. The catching fish is not a given. So the way I'm rigging these live pinfish, I think it was Salt Strong was the channel that I saw this on. You trim the tail off just enough so that, you know, it starts leaking just a little bit. And then you hook him in right by the tail. And you cut off all of his fins. I'm at least hitting the dorsal fin because those are spiky. Plus, these pinfish, they move, they flop around a lot. So while they're still flopping around, without the fins and the tails, they're not going as far. So there we go. And Mr. Blue Crab will become bait before this is over with. Let's see what I got. Feels croakery. That's a pinfish. Oh. This is a pinfish I used last night. He's still alive. So, can't really ask for more perfect than that. Normally, I figure if the bait has survived everything chasing it, I'll let it go. But I knew without a tail, these guys are not going to do they're not going to be long for the world anyway. So they can't hide and run as fast. Plus, I did want to make sure I had bait for today. Let me look, see what I got in here. I have 1, 2, 3. So 2 are croaker and 1 is pinfish. So when you're using buckets like these, even though there's water in them, and you might think an aerator is enough, the problem is that's a small bucket. They're in a very confined space in there, and they do their business, nature's business in there. I was looking in there, and the water's still pretty dirty in there, even though down there, I mean, the water can flow in and out. That's what the flow control bucket's for. Actually, what the for is trolling. So you can put behind a kayak or out on the side of your boat. And well, not really trolling so much, but so water can move in, but it floats. And last year, when I was here during the heat of the summer, water temperature, I think, was in the 90s. I bought some fresh shrimp, live shrimp, put them out there. The ones that didn't survive actually turned pink. They got cooked. And not all of them had that problem. I mean, some of them survived. But I thought it was interesting that they're actually getting poached in the Gulf. So I wish that what I ought to get is one of those old-timey minnow buckets. You know, it has metal. It's got the bucket on the outside, and then it's got the bucket with the holes inside. I could just drop it inside down. A second here, folks. Have to dismiss my own pinned message. Hey, Dante. Hey, brother, I just started. I got 4 baits out. 3 are cut bait that are expired. 1 is a live pinfish. And then back behind the camera, I'm trying to drop speaky rig with some salted shrimp as tips on the flies of the speaky rig. Try to pick up some pinfish. So the water is weird here. Saturday, just like all of the South, we had that big storm come through, and of course it agitated the water a lot. And I thought it would be a lot dirtier than it is. I mean, it was Saturday, but it cleaned up pretty good Sunday and Monday. And I mean, I can see shadows of grass at 4 or 5 feet below me. So there's that. But I don't know if the wind pushed out a bunch of water or what, but even the water is about a foot or two lower than normal, regardless of tide, right? So I looked yesterday, and I looked today with tide probably around noonish for high tide today, and we're down a good 2 feet from what it was Sunday, Saturday, Sunday morning, Saturday and Sunday. And the tide here goes about a 0.8 foot difference. There are a ton of what I can only assume are jellyfish down there. They're about the size of a silver dollar. They're not big. And they don't have those iridescent outlines that look like 4-leaf clovers. I know those sting you because, well, I actually got stung by one. These little ones, I'm not really seeing tentacles on them. They just look like little translucent globs. And I do pay attention to chat. It takes me a little while to get there. I appreciate everybody here. Got 9 folks watching. If you have not liked the stream, I'd appreciate it if you did that. Just double tap the screen. You can also subscribe. I'd love to have you as a subscriber. Not a member, just a subscriber. Just, so you hit the notification bell, let you know when I go live. I'm down here this week for spring break. We're headed back home Friday. So I will be out here if I have any say in the matter every day for multiple hours a day streaming. Recently, I've been doing a bunch of knot testing. So just testing the strength of various knots and different types of line. I got a big playlist on those, and I am nowhere near complete on that. I've got to have probably 20 videos by now. I got some knot tying tutorials. Of course, I have big hands, and so I'm not going to say that the greatest tutorials out there, but they're there if you want to see them. Through my knot strength testing, I have learned that the knotless knot or the no knot snell, whatever you call it, is super strong. I did not expect that. I'm going to be doing a lot more testing on the egg loop knot because I just found out about that because I don't fish with eggs. I mean, I heard of it before, but I never cared because I don't fish with eggs. But basically, it's a no knot snell that relieves one of the problems of the no knot snell, which is that the standing end is just loose, and if you depending on how much memory your mono has, how thick it is, it can loosen up real easy. I have not had one fail because of that, but it's just disheartening to see it loosen up. And the egg loop part of the knot actually ties the standing end down to the shank of the hook. So I did one test on it just to make, because a subscriber asked me about it, to just see if it retained its strength, and it appeared to. So I'm gonna do some more testing on that, and that may become my new knot of choice for snelling. The uni knot snell, not good. A few different other types of snell knots I looked at, I just were not good. You still have the downside with the egg loop knot that the no knot snell does, and that's that you have to have both ends of the line available, or very specifically, you have to have the standing end of the line available, the end of it, because that has to go back through the eye to finish the knot. The other thing is, I had never really used the trilane knot. I'd used the clinch knot and the improved clinch knot, and mostly the Palomar knot. But I found that the trialing knot is actually as strong or stronger as its Palomar. And the Palomar, while it's a simple knot to tie, you can screw it up by getting extra twists and stuff in there that impact the strength of the knot, that you don't have that problem with the trialing knot. So the trialing knot is now, it's kind of become my go-to for attaching to swivels and such. Anyway, I'll go over the gear real quick. I am sponsored by no one, so if I'm talking about gear, I'm telling you how I feel about it. And I mean, if I'm using it, I like it. So that should tell you something. But this is all came out of my pocket. So the far right, far left are both Spinfisher 6 live liner combos from Penn. Their rods, their combo rods, are not well thought of by a lot of people. But I'm like, hey, it's a free rod. They were $100 on sale. The reel itself is usually 200 or more. So I mean, it was a good deal. And if you do like good sales, I don't post them often because I don't find them often. But when I find a good sale, I will post a video of it. Those were on there. Got some Penn Pursuit 4 combos for like $40 a pop. Those I made a video about. And they're not long lived, so I'm not really making any money off the videos because once the deal expires, I note that on there, so there's no reason to watch it unless you just like watching old videos that you can't get. But I don't post them very often because they don't come across that often. I don't post crappy deals like 3% off of something that you can find for 5% off any other day of the week. My 2 center rods. Those are Anvil Extra Heavy. They're my catfishing rods, or some of my catfishing rods. They got those on clearance for $50 a pop, basically half price. They're good rods. I like them. I didn't post about them at the time because I hadn't used them before. So while I thought it was a good deal for me, and a buddy had told me they were good rods, I don't like steering people to stuff without knowing it's good stuff. And they are good stuff. I like them. They're the Series 1. They may still be on Anvil Rod's website. Of course, shipping, it's like $25 to ship 1 or 2 or 3 rods. So I bought 4 of them to kind of split that shipping cost up. They have the PC Fun Alios 400 reels on them. Those are low profile, larger bait casters. They hold a lot of line. They do have bait clickers on it. Now the 300, the Alios 300 does not have the bait clicker, and of course doesn't hold quite as much line. I really like the bait clickers. They are nice and loud. They got the reels on sale for about $100 a piece. They're normally, I think the list price is supposed to be $200, but you can get them on sale for $129 to $149 fairly regularly. And I've been wanting to give them a good test. I've used them a few times, but I haven't given them a good test. But last night I caught a 3-foot gar, whether I wanted to or not. And then another about 2.5 footer. I was in shock that I caught a gar. And how do you weigh a gar except in a net? But it handled those fine. The drag worked fantabulously. Those are the I got the high speed gearing, something like 8.1 to 1 or something like that, because that's what I like. I like a higher geared reel. But they it was, they brought in fish good. And if you've ever fought a gar do not play until they stop fighting. Once they give up, then they're real easy. But like once they got up on the dock, they just kind of laid there like, okay, now what? Oh, doggone it. I had something that bit me on my bait rod. Sorry. Thought I had him, but he wiggled off. These pinfish, they are some wiggly bad little fish. So we got a big barge coming into view now. 1, 2, I can't see all of it because I'm behind. So 3 deep, or 3 long, I should say. Looks like single deep. Being pushed, of course, by a tug because That's what pushes them. And so I'm in the intracoastal waterway in Pensacola. The island just in front of me to the right is actually Alabama. And then straight across past the front of that barge there, that's Florida again. The state line's kind of the middle of the channel here. It's kind of frustrating. You know, I've got to buy the out-of-state license for Florida, which, you know, I have no problem with. But then to not be able to fish 300 yards away. Now that is a pinfish. So this is a bigger pinfish than what I'm hoping to catch. Stop it. Stop it. This is, I mean, if I were going for shark or something, I guess it'd be a good live bait. But for most of the saltwater fish, they don't have those giant mouths. Okay, if you would settle down just a hair, I mean, you could be friendlier. That is, so pinfish do get a lot bigger than this, but most of them I'm catching are about 3 or 4 inches. Let's get that fin out of there. I have already drawn blood from it. And that is pinfish. So they have these black dot on the side of them, and they are wiggly. Oh, man. Part of me wants, you're going to wiggle out if I don't do this. But I don't want to throw you in there with, yep. Okay, you're going in with the crab. And that crab is going to make a meal out of you. Just have to get my bucket up. And that crab's going, man, you done fell into the wrong hole, buddy. I'm not sticking my fingers in there with that crab. Don't ask me how I learned that lesson. Oh, the crab wants my net now. Okay, so he did survive the crab, which I knew he would. He just survived completely unscathed, it looked like. Come on. Yeah, my net's a little bait net's a little too small for that pinfish. Oh well. It did what it needed to do. So these beaky rigs come with 6 flies on them. And I found that if you cut them down in half, so you just get 3 flies, well, 1, you get 2 sabiki rigs out of it, and 2, they don't tangle up as bad. So what I'm doing with these, this still has, oh yeah, this still has a piece of red worm on it. That is actually, yeah, that was gonna, I was keeping anything from hitting the barb. I've got some salted shrimp, and all it is you take non-iodized salt, plain salt, whatever you call it. Make sure it's non-iodized because iodine is bad for fish. Good for us, bad for fish. And tipping the jigs with it, little flies, because while the pinfish will hit the flies by themselves, they really want something else on there, something to attract them more. So that's why I tip them. And so to make the salted shrimp, it's just like I take a pound of shrimp. If it's frozen, go ahead and let it thaw out completely. Dry them off as best as you can with paper towels. Throw them in your little container, and then take one of those normal round boxes of salt that you get for, I don't know, 50 cents or $1, and just pour the whole thing in there. You're wanting these things covered. The salt is going to, you know, salting is a way that they preserve food before they have refrigeration. And you just cover it in salt, cover them completely. The salt takes out the moisture. They don't smell. You don't have to refrigerate them. Preserves them for, I don't know how long. We'll go with forever. I've had some for several months. Dries them out, and it makes them tougher. And that is worth its weight in gold. Because if you've ever dealt with shrimp, especially if they've been previously frozen, you know, the crystallization when it freezes makes the breaks them down the cell walls and makes them unfirm. Hey, Randy Rhino, good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, you don't have it's a limit to the total number of hooks, and there's a lot of species that you're limited. It says no multiple hooks, and what they mean by that is no treble hooks or double hooks, that kind of stuff. Hey, Soul Molasses. Yeah, I normally fish out of Memphis. I'm down in Pensacola right now. Jay Jones, I've caught one good pinfish so far. I've got one live pinfish out as bait and 3 cut baits that are pinfish. I'm down in Pensacola. The very beginning of the stream, I know it says there, I mean, just as soon as I went live, there were a couple of dolphins, so I got them on camera a little bit. I love dolphins. They're just gorgeous. Yesterday, I caught 2 gosh darn gar. And I'm in the intracoastal waterway, which just on the other side of that island is the Gulf. And this is, so you've got Gulf water all in here. And then you've got the bays. At the top of the bays, you've got freshwater rivers that come in. So it's high salinity. It's not, it may be a little less salinity right here than out in the Gulf proper. But I sure did not expect to find gar. Got some hardheads past couple days. Like 13 of those and probably 5 gaff top sail cats. 1 white perch, sand perch. 2 gar. Blue crab. Funny, I've got blue crab traps out. And I catch the one blue crab on rod and reel by accident. And that blue crab is going to become bait. He was the last rod I was reeling in last night before I ended the stream to go home. And he got my thumb really good. And yes, they can draw blood, which I knew they could, but he let me know he was capable. So I dumped out my bucket of goodies, put him in there. I'm like, nah, you're going to be bait tomorrow, buddy. If you've never had pinfish before, they are like bluegill in freshwater, except worse. They will peck your bait off your hook in a heartbeat. But man, are they lively. They flop and flop and flop and flop and flop. So the next door neighbor came by last night. I think it was funny. He said, looking for Neil. Then I saw somebody out here fishing. I should have known it wasn't him. That's actually Dad. But he fishes some. He said he had 5 crab traps over there I'm welcome to use. I can go fish on his dock if I want, which was a very nice gesture. I just don't want to go over there live streaming. I think it's, without asking about it. I didn't ask him about it. Just didn't mention it at all. But I knew Asher's parents had told me that almost every morning there'd be charter boats in here between these 2 docks. And that there's, they'll catch, supposedly they catch speckled trout. They haven't really seen them pull in much. The neighbor's like, oh yeah, I see them pulling them in left and right. I was like, well, what draws them here? He's like, there's the grass. All this is covered in eelgrass. He said, and then there is a drop off. And as I'm looking over there right now, I guess because I know what I'm looking for, I can see an area that's more tan. So there's not grass over there in that one spot. And I think that's the spot I'm looking for. I have one bait over there. I don't know if it's right there or not. Over here checking my crab trap, see if anything's in it. And he told me last night, because I told him, I said, I wasn't even sure if the crabs were active, and I saw one yesterday. Oh yeah, I saw 4 or 5 yesterday. He said, But if you're if you're he saw where my crab trap was on the dock. He's like, yeah, you're in the wrong spot. You need to be way shallower. So I moved it shallow, and I didn't get anything last night. I've got a hard head that's being used as bait over there. Cut him up in half and figured the crabs would feast on that. But I didn't catch anything overnight, so I moved it a little deeper than I had it. Had it in probably 2.5, 3 feet of water. Moved it out maybe into 3.5, 4 feet. Nate, I'm not ignoring you. My favorite fish to catch. It's a hard one, man. I mostly fish freshwater. So bluegill and crappie, I love catching them. I fish for catfish a lot, blue cats mostly. I love catching them. I used to bass fish. I'm just not a bass fisherman. I do want to try my hand at carp fishing because a lot of people do it and enjoy it. And went as far as making up pack bait and did nothing with it. Like, didn't even try using it. And I would like to catch a shark. I would love to catch a big jack crevalle. They're considered trash fish. Nobody really eats them much. But they can get big. And these saltwater fish, they fight so much harder than freshwater fish. And I know, everybody likes to say, this one fights harder than that one and everything. But when you think about how the ocean works, you got the tides. It's either coming in or going out. You got the waves coming in. And some of them, when the waves are really coming in, I mean, it's pushing, 1, 2 feet, 3 feet up. So, I mean, it moves these fish around. They're constantly, they'll be in one spot hanging out, and then a wave comes and pushes them 2 feet, and then they got to swim right back to where they, it's funny. Probably not as funny to them as it is to me, but to me, it's they spend a lot of time swimming. They don't, unless they get into a bayou or something, or a bay, or hide behind barrier islands. The water is always moving, and they're just always getting pushed around by the waves. Even in the Mississippi River, there's all kinds of slackwater areas that you can get to, and little feeder creeks and little rivers, and backwater areas, whatever you want to call them, behind islands and such. They've got places that they can just go and hang. And the ocean doesn't have a lot of those hanging areas. And up until I met Ashley a couple of years ago, I had never been saltwater fishing. I've still not gone out. I still haven't fished from a boat in saltwater yet. I mean, I've used my kayak, but I'm not getting out there a long way, fishing deep and that kind of stuff. But one thing that was interesting to me, I never thought of, I just always, you think of lakes are generally bowls that, they start off they go down and then they just kind of drop off into the oblivion. And I thought that the ocean was like, I just assumed. But you can go a mile or more off the shore, I should say, and still be in 30 feet of water. Now, there are drop-offs that are absolute drop-offs into very deep water. But anyway. Hey, Gigability. All my pipe dreams? That does sound right. Yeah, Gigability's a good guy. He shrimps for a living and fishes for fun. So he gets to do all the fun stuff. Of course, you ask him, shrimping is not fun, which I can also understand that. I mean, you know, trawling nets all day and knee deep in shrimp and not being able to eat them. I can understand that. So gig, I caught a blue crab. Last thing I caught last night. I was reeling in my final rod to head in. And it had a larger than I wanted live pinfish on it. And I'd already caught a little hardhead that would, I don't know what he was thinking. He was caught on the same hook as the pinfish, but there was no way that pinfish was ever getting in its mouth. It had delusions of grandeur, no doubt about it. But I pulled it in. I'm like, do I have another little bitty hardhead on here? Like, no, that's a blue crab. And I got him up on the dock before he released. And he bit me, not bit me, clawed me. He got me, drew blood. He was gonna get a reprieve until he got me. I'm like, you know what? Out you go. Put him in a 5-gallon bucket. He will be bait today. Just kind of trying to see if I can get some good action before I slice him up. Now, Billy, I do need your help on how to use a blue crab for bait. My thought process is, what I've seen is people pretty much cut the body into quarters. Some people will rip the legs off and just toss them away. But is that the right way, cutting into 4 pieces, shell and all, and just throw them out that way? He's an adult. Say he's probably 4 or 5 inches across on the carapace. Is a male. He's got the narrow apron. I'll be over to check the answer in a minute. I got frustrated yesterday. I ran out of pinfish. I didn't think you could do that. I just had a few errant casts where I hit the roof of the dock on the way out, and fish went one way and my line went the other. And I was actually sitting there trying to catch something to use as bait on that 4th one. So I got still got those croakers. I think I got 2 pinfish left in there. One of them is a fairly large pinfish, and the croaker are fairly large for using as a single bait. So pretty sure they're going to end up as cut bait. And Gig was the one that told me last time I was here when I was catching. I thought I wanted these bigger pinfish. He's like, no, you idiot. You want those little bitty ones that you think are too small. That's bait size. Gig has a way with words. Oh, and I was talking about making these salted shrimp. One thing you want to do when you make the salted shrimp, so the shrimp will become moist from all of the liquid that it extracts out of the shrimp. So you want to keep the lid off of it so your salt can dry back out. Because otherwise that gives it a feeding ground for bacteria and all that kind of stuff. And of course doesn't preserve the shrimp as nearly as well. Of course down here, there's a lot of moisture in the air to begin with because, you know, sitting here on the ocean. I covered it up last night so that I didn't have a bird come and enjoy my feast. Went to Publix yesterday with Ashley, and like the only shrimp they had that wasn't previously frozen was like $11.99 a pound. Like, well, 1 pound do me? Nah, just give me 2 pounds. Way I don't have to worry about it. And then we get home and Ashley's like, so are we splitting this up in half to eat and half for bait? I'm like, Apparently we are. So we had shrimp stir fry last night. Ash is taking the boys to the arcade over in Foley today. They like those retro arcades. Her oldest is about to graduate high school, and his whole purpose of coming down here is to go to that arcade. She'll take them on trips up to Nashville. I like Murfreesboro, I think is where it is. Smyrna, Murfreesboro, somewhere in there. There's one of these retro arcades. And they'll go up there. I mean, of course, they got the game consoles and everything, but they want to play the games that we grew up on, which I think is cool. Weird, but cool. When we thought those were great graphics back in the day, and you're sitting there going, man, this looks like garbage. And the arcade up there in, I think it's Murfreesboro. They have a lot of game consoles as well. A lot of different cartridges you can play. So, and not just the current stuff, a lot of older stuff. And they're, pay one price to get in and play for X number of hours or all day or whatever, which is really cool. Much better than that quarter a pop when we were kids. And then they got things like Street Fighter and stuff. Like, oh, these are $1 a play. I'm like, no. I got something down there pecking at my bait rod. He's already relieved me of a couple of pieces of salted shrimp. And when I talk about pieces, I cut these things down to get 10 or 12 baits out of one piece of shrimp. It's just enough to give them some scent. Something they want to entice them into biting. Or stealing, as the case may be. It's weird. They're not touching the other baits. Of course, these may... Very possible these are from last night, so I can get that. The pinfish usually only hit the bottom couple of flies anyway. So that's why I like cutting them down in half, so so I have 3 flies. 1, they don't get as tangled. And 2, in theory, you could get 6 pinfish at a time on your best day, but they flap around so much they knock each other off. So even with 6 hooks, if you get a double, you're doing pretty good. It's weird to me how these have nests. Just sometimes you can't drop a bait without getting hit. And other times, seems like they're not hungry. Set this rod down. I'll go check my crab trap real quick and see if there's anything in it. Do not have high hopes based upon past results last couple days. Water's clear enough I can see down there, and there is not a crab in there. And I know nothing about crabs. See some people that drop them. It seems like they go back, check them, 20 minutes later, and they got 5 or 6 crabs in them. Of course, now they're in good crabbing areas. And this is just a dock. I don't know what makes crabs want to be around, but I have not found the secret sauce. I told them they had cut up a hard head to use a bait. Like, they really like red snapper heads and stuff like that. Some other fish they told me they like. Anyway, my glasses on here and take a look at chat. Have I caught anything that scared me? So, I've caught things I was like, what in the snot is this? I don't think I've ever caught anything that scared me. I mean, that crab was a little scary. Yeah, pinfish, they will. You ain't kidding. Those things, I'm amazed at pinfish. They can just smack things. They voracious eaters. When I ran out of bait yesterday, I actually took a piece of salted shrimp on a 5-aught hook and cast it way out yonder. And within 30 seconds, it's getting pecked to death by pinfish. I'm like, how? So, of course, I tried throwing my speaky rig out there, and then nobody cared. Because I was just hoping, hook into anything. I didn't care what. I don't care what I catch. When Ashley's parents first heard that, I was coming out here fishing, they're like, oh, you're going to catch us dinner? And I'm like, sure. And I mean, sail cats are supposed to be decent eating, but I just throw them all back. Now, if I caught a limit of pompano or something, that'd be different. But I need to be out in the surf to catch pompano, I believe. And I'm planning to do that one day this week. Maybe tomorrow. Because I actually got the truck today taking the kids. So, my conundrum is that you almost have to have a beach cart with these balloon wheels on it to traverse the sand here with all your gear. I can rent one for $35 a day, or $70 or $75. I can rent one for the week, or for $200 I can go buy one. And buying one seems like the logical choice for me. But then where do I store it? Like, with any luck, and I'm not that lucky, but it'd be nice if the wheels for my kayak cart that are hard wheels would also fit on the beach cart. I can just replace the wheels and use it for regular fishing. But these pier carts, or these beach carts, they're made out of aluminum, and they don't like fold up into nothing like the little folding wagons and stuff. So they're going to take up some room wherever they are. If memory serves, this third rod's the one with the live pinfish, but the second one I see something tapping at the line. Or it could be wrong. It could be that one that's got the live pinfish on it. I think it's the third one. Well, the second one from the left is the one I think has live pinfish on it. The third one from the left is the one that's... I see the line moving some. I had a good hit yesterday. It took out some line, and then I just saw it moving off to the side. It was live pinfish out there, and pinfish was not dragging the weight like that. But I didn't hook up. I reeled it in, and all I had was a hook. And there are a lot of bait thieves down here. I'm kind of surprised. I can, sit here, watch the rods, nothing happened. Nothing that I can see. Now, they are Carolina rigs, and they have 4-ounce pyramid sinkers on them. So there can be stuff happening out there I don't see, but I'll reel in my line and it'll be picked clean. I was wanting to move this one anyway, if this is indeed the live pinfish, and cast it over to the left. Or the right, rather. I do know my right from my left. You just wouldn't know it from the way I talk. Let's see. That is the live pinfish. Yep, he's still flapping around. Didn't quite make it over to the bald spot over there, but hopefully close enough that if there's anything over there in that bald spot, come get this pinfish. Move this bait just a little bit so whatever was, it's got a little bit of weight to it. I wonder if this may be, I don't know, more than nothing. It's crab? I think it was a crab. Yeah. Yep, it was a crab. And this was old bait anyway, so. He was on last night and he was already expired then. The crab got a hold of him. This is the one that brought the crab in last night when he was alive in fish. Let me go see if I can catch a live bait real quick. I know I've been trying to do that this whole time, but before I dig one out of the bucket, try a couple of other spots over here on the dock. Oh, the noise you hear, those are two duck-looking critters. Geese-looking critters, I guess. I don't know what they are. They're just birds over there frolicking in this water. And last night I put out a short. I had a dolphin that came like maybe 5 feet from the dock. And then about 3 or 4 feet down from me, but he was up on top of the water, right top of the water, part of it. Gorgeous, gorgeous creature. I'm gonna come out here to the edge of the grass line and see if I can pick up something right here at the edge of the grass. One thing I like about these DJI Mac Minis, when you're using the transmitter receiver combo, it's got like, I don't know, it's 400 feet, yards, or meters, but it's a ridiculous, no, it's 400 either yards or meters, at least 3 football fields in clear line of sight and all that kind of stuff. But still, that's a long range. We'll cast this further out as opposed to just dropping it down next to the pier, because I can see them, they can see me. And while I am handsome as can be, and we all know that, I don't want to scare them off. Once again, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for watching, spending time of your day with me. I hope you're finding the content enjoyable. I know it'd be a lot more enjoyable if the rods were doing fun stuff, but that's why they call it fishing instead of catching. Der her. I'll come down here and cast out towards that bald spot with this sabiki rig. Just see what I can make happen, if anything. Hit right on the edge of it. Appreciate my moderators making sure that chat stays good. I do appreciate the people that are chatting, and I do read all your comments. It just takes me a little while to get back and take a look at them. So at the bottom of my 3-hook sabiki rig, I also have they call it goofy jig. It's people use them with a teaser on them. I'm just using the goofy jig for weight, but as I'm reeling this back in, kind of fishing it a little bit like a jig as well. See if I can get anything to hit. I did not. I need to start coming out at the crack of dawn, but my alarm goes off and I'm like, no, thank you. That is certainly something I don't miss about bass fishing tournaments, and that's getting up the crack of dawn. Actually, 2 hours before dawn, so that you can trailer to whatever lake you're fishing that day to blast off the crack of dawn. And I have really been impressed by these DJI Mic Mini. Does not work well on my OnePlus phone. Of course, I don't really care for the OnePlus phone, to be honest with you. It's an older one. Used to be my daily driver until I upgraded. I keep all my old phones for some reason because I'm an idiot. But it does not want to work with Bluetooth on that or anything. And with the receiver, it'll work, but it won't allow charging. Plug in the charger, it charges, but it then turns off the functionality of the microphone. And I've tried a splitter cable to split the data and the charging capacities, and that didn't change anything. If I thought the camera would pick this up, I'd show it to you, but there is this pod of little translucent things about the size of a nickel. And the wind seems to be, the wave action seems, they're staying relatively stationary. I would have expected that they would be blown around more than they are. They're probably just aliens. I assume they're baby jellyfish. But I am not a fan of jellyfish. They probably don't think highly of me either. Oh, they're not getting moved around because the water's really not moving. The waves are coming through, but even with my jig, it's not being blown around like I'd expect it to be. You know, they're moving 6 inches one way and then right back out when the wave passes. Interesting. So, Gig, I'll ask you, hopefully you're still here and give me an idea. I've got, I don't know, probably a couple of 6-inch croakers. Are they worth sending out as live bait, or is there just nothing big enough to eat them? Nothing with a big enough mouth to eat them, I should say. I know you told me when I was complaining about little bitty pinfish, like, no, idiot, those are the right size. Those are the ones you want. Because I'm thinking catfish terms, right? Thinking for big blue cat, you know, you can throw out a 10-inch bait and they have no problem because they got gigantic mouths. Like sheepshead, I don't have that big of a mouth. Red drum are fairly large, I guess, but nothing like, you know, largemouth bass as far as size to body, mouth size to body size. So I don't know. But in any case, I am going to have to go back into the bait bucket. See what we got in here. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll go after the smallest pinfish. And I got him if he doesn't move. There he is. Got him. Oh, actually, this is a croaker. Here's my croaker. I guess that is about a 6-inch croaker. I'm going to try him live. I know I just asked, but I thought he was bigger than he is. He did not like the idea I was throwing at him. Come here, boy. Man, these tails are hard to get through. He got it through it just the wrong way. Got that bone right in that tail that just not easy. Oh, Lord. Still didn't get through the skin on the other side. There we go. This is the smaller of the 4 baits in there, which is why I'm using him whole. Ah, you mother pearl! Son of a bitch. The inertia caused the reel to engage. Wasn't a backlash, it was just the reel engaged. And off went my fish. So this one is a pinfish. And this one at least has a 7/0 hook on it, so most of my others are 5/0. They became 7/0 when I had to cut the hook off for the 2-gar. Come here, let me trim you up. Give that dorsal fin a haircut. Tail haircut. Just trying to make it easier for you to find a suitor down there. Okay. Try this again. Did not go as far as I would have liked. That's interesting. So my right rod, I did not cross it. It's just getting some love at just this right time. Now, move my rods so they're kind of in the right order. So again, live pinfish, and those are both cut baits. Hey, Jamaica, sure, good to see you, my brother. Great outdoors. I'm fishing for anything that bites. Would love to get anything other than catfish and gar. So far, that's where I've been at. Jerry, I appreciate you, my friend. Always a good support of the channel. Y'all check out Gigability Don't Ask. He has a channel. Jamaica Sure Outdoor has a channel he fishes out of. This may surprise you, Jamaica. This one's getting some attention. I don't know what it's getting attention from, but we're going to find out. Damn, somehow crossed over that line. We fixed that. Oh, yeah, I'm definitely. I've crossed. What have I crossed? Yeah, it's the one I just sent out, so I did cross my line. Ooh, and it's tied up in the line. That took work, Mike. It is wrapped. Little pinfish wrapped around the other line 3 times. Okay. Let's see. And we caught him another time. I knew that was going to happen, though. Okay. So I thought I hadn't crossed my lines, but I had. And now that delicious pinfish that I had cast out finally without knocking it off, now it has to get cast out again. See, I don't understand these pleasure boaters that do this. There's a marked channel out there. They are not fishing. They're not scanning for places to fish. They're just out on their little party barge. So stay out in the channel, morons. It's not like it's shallow there. It's just you have a channel. Stay in it. Stay in your own lane, fools. So this head, that was one of those pieces of cut bait from the one bait last night. It did in fact get pecked to death by the pinfish. Okay, that left rod is getting some love and affection. And that should also be cut bait. Let's see. 2 baits left. One is definitely a croaker. Grab the other one, which I think is also a croaker. No, it's my big giant pinfish from earlier. I know that's too big to use as a single bait, so we will go make him cut bait. And of course, the knife is not in the sheath because that would be too smart, Mike. Oh, see, all you're going to do is get yourself sandy in there, buddy. If I were a fish, I would definitely go for this big bloody headpiece. Like, yeah, if it were a blue cat. Let's see, where are my, okay. Throw this one out front. Oh. Just hosing off the dock. Try to keep the blood and the guts to a minimum on here. Like I say, Ashley's dad is not really, he doesn't fish much. He does not understand the fine art of blood and guts everywhere. Well, some of this blood's mine. Oh well. Check my crab trap again. Pretty sure the answer is going to be nope. Still nothing. So I'd moved him one dock post further out. I'll go ahead and move it one more further out. Go ahead and grab my crab net. I ordered these off of Bass Pro. Of course, I don't have any of these in Memphis because who fishes for blue crabs? So I ordered them in. When I ordered them, it said, you know, basically a 50-50 chance they'd get there before I was leaving. And I called them on Friday because we were leaving early Saturday morning. And they said, looks like it'll be here anytime from tomorrow to 4 or 5 days from now. I was like, dang it. And lo and behold, they actually did arrive on Friday. Which is nice, but I had already, you know, resigned myself to that wasn't happening. So my crab net, I have a hook in there just to hold the bait. I'm not trying to catch any fish. Just hold it where it needs to be. Seemed like a pretty good idea to do. Got a couple of weights in there. And then just a couple of bobbers on there to hold the braille lines up. Otherwise, the braille lines can sink to the bottom. Well, they will sink to the bottom. And if you get a crab in there, chewing on stuff, and then go pull it up, then when the braille line picks up, it could flick the crab off. At least that's the theory I keep hearing. But then I've seen how crab hold on to things, so the one sure way to get a crab to let go of something is to wait till he's ready. Otherwise, good effing luck. Swickies, no, I haven't caught anything. Got a couple of bit of baits, but that's it. Yeah, I caught the only blue crab I've caught this trip. I caught off of a rod and reel by sheer accident. I was reeling my last one, and he held on long enough to get up on the dock. And I was going to let him go, but he pinched me. Now he's sitting over there in a bucket waiting to become bait. I don't know why I'm waiting to make him bait, but my plan is to cut him in quarters. Cut the carapace, or the shell, whatever. I know the carapace is not actually a shell, it's a part of the shell. But anyway, whatever. Cut him into 4 pieces. And basically, I think I hooked through the knuckle, through one of the knuckles. I think is how it's supposed to work. Which means I have to take all the legs off, I guess. I don't know. But crabs are not nice creatures. I was hoping to catch a whole bunch of mess of them and have crab claws for dinner and bait and all. Yeah. Wish in one hand and yeah. So let's see if I can remember correctly. Straight ahead is a fairly large bait pinfish. The head portion of him, the tail portion went in the crab net that I just dropped. Left rod is going to be a dead pinfish from last night. The other two are going to be live baits, I believe. It's hard to keep track when you're as dumb as I am. I do need to check this left one. I had 3 pieces of bait out originally that were cut bait from one of the baits last night. One of them got picked. I think 2 of them got picked to death. This is the 3rd one. Let's see how he's doing. This was the bait that caught the blue crab last night. It was live at the time. Yeah, it's the tail section off of that bait, which is kind of not fresh anymore. Not that it was necessarily fresh when it went out, but the goal at that point was, if I catch catfish, I don't care. So I cut the middle section of that large fresh pinfish, cut him in half, basically gut pocket, and then the top portion of the midsection. Thinking the gut pocket will probably make a better crab bait. Than bait for much of what I'm trying to catch. For anybody that missed it last night, I got the trash fish trifecta. I got hardheads. I got sail cats. And I got not 1, but 2 gar. They were long nose or spotted. They were spotted. They had spots on them, but they also had a very long nose. One was about 3 feet, I'm guessing. Oh, about 2.5 feet. 3-footer I needed the net for. The 2.5-footer I just pulled up. Mostly because at first, I'm like, that looks like a gar. Can they? I was dumbfounded that there were gar here. I may have to go out later and figure out how cold that water is, because there's some barnacles hanging off the side of this dock. I swear you're like this long, about look like the diameter of a quarter. I know sheepshead love barnacles. Of course, same token, they love them that much they would already eat them, right? For anybody who hadn't seen a sheepshead, man, they are cool. They have like human incisors. And I thought that was just it, but even behind the first row that looks like human teeth, they got more in there. Those things, they eat barnacles and oysters, and we've got red ear sunfish that we call shell crackers. These are real shell crackers. They'll crack anything. And then the spotted sea trout, speckled sea trout, whatever they are. They have these two giant fang incisors in front. That's it, two of them. And they break off fairly often. I've seen them with one and none where they've broken off. I assume they grow back over time, but interesting to say the least. The first time I saw a picture of a sheepshead, I'm like, somebody photoshopped. No, they did not Photoshop that. That is really how it looked. You still alive in there, Bubba? Yeah, you're still alive. I think what I'm going to do is make my life easy real quick. Like I say, he's already got me once. And I'd heard, they could draw blood. Sure, sissies. Nope. I screamed like a little girl. Maybe worth watching the video just hear me screaming like a little girl. Ooh. I mean, he has no quarrels with these claws. See that? Bye. Haha. Okay, well, that's going too. I'm lucky you didn't flop off. I mean, look at that. He just gripping the snot out of it. Luckily, it's not my finger. I can't tell you how hard that was to cut off. Now at least I know when it's time to turn him into bait, I can do it. Tell you what, folks, I'm going to run up the house for a minute, get my cutting board, if I can find it. Y'all watch them rods. Let me know if anything happens. I have to be cognizant to sell my mic on because y'all may be able to hear me all the way up the house. Next, I'm going to turn the mic off. Just sorry. That was the back on the inside of my shirt. I pulled the microphone off it. Got down. Now I'll get it out of there. Okay, everybody. Get everything resituated here. Check the crab trap real quick. Oh, look, nothing. Also found my gaff up there. Not to know what I'll need a gaff for, but I've got it. I hope you guys are watching those rods like I told you. I mean, you had one job. One. Hey, Randy Rhino. Only one of you watching. What's wrong with you people? Sorry, I was just wanting to turn the screen down a little bit on this one. Managed to bork things up. But we're back. We'll be in echo for just a second, peeps. Apologize for that, but I want to make sure that my volume is working. I can find the volume button on this tablet. If it weren't upside down, that'd probably help. Maybe. Oh, now it's upside down. Okay. You'd think this is my first time ever using a computer. What was that? Get over here. Do that now. Do that now. Okay. I have to figure out where the volume thing is on this now. There we go. Now we're all set. Sorry, peeps. I think by now I'd be smarter than this, but not so much. Check my net over, my crab net. So I've got this right by the dock. Figure out where that downline is. There it is. Ooh, I caught some grass. Whole bunch of nasty seagrass. Get that out of there because I'm pretty sure no crab going, ooh, you know what, I want some grass. But I know there's grass down there, which means crabs, in theory, will be down there possibly. All the lines are still tight and where I left them. Hate it when that happens. The wind has picked up, which may help the bait fishing situation. We're going to find out. The wind had laid down a lot yesterday, and it was laid down earlier today. I'm thinking that more movement in the water may push the pinfish closer to structure and cover. So I'm trying, you know, in spots that are shaded, spots that are shielded somewhat from the current, you know, just behind the pilings. Trying out in the sunny spots. I'm trying variety of things, trying to find these fish. I don't like being this low on bait fish. I don't know what came through. Man, it is pushing a ton of waves through here. Ton of wake, I guess I should say. No joy yet. Come down right near the crab net. Maybe the crab net will attract some pinfish because there's a bait sitting there. Nothing. Break out the other sabiki rig, which has considerably smaller hooks on it. See if they just want a smaller bait. Did notice this one's got a little bit of, I won't even call it slack, but just not fully tightened up. Which I guess is what we would call slack, but leave me alone. Hey, gorgeous. Chomping at the bit.
Anyway,
I love you, darling.
I love you.
Y'all have fun.
That's the guy?
That's him.
He's a big guy.
Yeah, I took his claws off so he couldn't, you know.
Girl or whatever.
No, it's a guy.
Yeah, I didn't check the bottom. Not flipping them. Anyway, well, have fun.
Okay. What? I put it on earlier. Yes, my love. Well, I am getting bites. She reminds me of sunscreen yesterday. Every time I come down here, I get burned. Yesterday I got a little red because I didn't put any sunscreen on. Even though I know that the sunlight bouncing off the water actually can burn you as fast as direct sunlight, if not faster. But you know, I'm a man. Man, don't use sunscreen until we cry like babies. Oh, honey, I'm burned. And they go, yeah, told you, moron. Like, now is no time to prove that you're right. I'm a man. I spend my entire life being wrong. At least I blame it on my gender. That's the reason I'm wrong about everything. I think it's just because I'm dumb. Anyway. So there are baits down there wanting to get caught. They just are not up against a worthy rival at this point. We're going to try to fix that. Yeah, she saw my little blue crab. Well, not little. I think he's a pretty darn good size one. Like I said, if I had high hopes of catching a bunch more, I'd save the claws and sauteed them in butter and garlic. So these just have a half ounce egg sinker on them as the weight on the bottom. And drop it in the exact spot I did a minute ago because I'm being lazy and sitting on my bootay. And I'm getting 0 the number of bites, so maybe I should get off my lazy butt and go back where I was. Do need to get the flow troll back in the water here pretty quick. Although I think there's only 2 fish left in it. I'm sure they'd still appreciate fresh water. Take a quick peek, make sure they're. Oh, there's only 1 in there, so he's doing fine. Yeah, there was a hit. There's a dadgummit. Almost had a fish. Every one of those snips you hear is me slicing this salted shrimp up. Should be getting about 20 pieces of bait or so out of that piece. Let's see. Wish I had a better container to put them in, but for now, I'll keep them in this little net. So just little pieces, but then the hooks are tiny. Thought last night about trying to get some itty bitty little circle hooks and seeing if they will be kind enough to just hook themselves and be done with it. They got all three baits last time, so I mean they're not bashful. Come back to the exact same spot. Nobody. Try coming back further and keeping the rod more out of view. On the other side of the piling. I don't know whose yacht that is, but he has too much money to have that bad taste in music. Money can buy you a lot of things, but not class. I hate it when I have good, when I know there's bait fish down there and then can't get them to bite again. Hey, Mackie Lifestyle Adventures. Good to see you. Good to see you. Appreciate you coming in. We're kind of just hanging out and watching flagpoles at the moment. But it's so beautiful out here, I don't care. Appreciate you stopping in and drop a like if you don't mind. We got some live pinfish out. I got some cut pinfish out. Got a crab trap and a crab net both out. I'm down to one piece of bait left in, I mean, it's probably 2 or 3 pieces of bait when I cut it up. But I need to get some more bait fish up here. It looks like the second rod from the right, looks like the line tightened up just a little bit. I'm pretty sure both of those on the right have live pinfish, so it could just be the fish doing its thing. And there, we got a bait. We had a bait. These little pinfish squirm so hard. There we go. Pinfish. You want to simmer? Settle down. Settle down. Ow. You try to stay away from the dorsal fin, but even the fins on the bottom will get you too. Okay. Come on. Get the pliers after that hook. So it's not in there far. It's just trying to be able to get a grip on it to get it out. These hooks are tiny. Open up. Open up, honey. You're like, I don't think so. We both want the same thing, and that's that hook out of you. I mean, I think you want more than just the hook out. I think you probably like to go back in the water, but open up. This must be one of them illegal immigrant pinfish who doesn't speak English. There it goes. It was just, I mean, it was stuck right inside of his mouth. It wasn't, you know, still have the hook out of his mouth, but still just couldn't get him. Didn't want to come out easy. Get him in there. Put down in the water. Rinse out the bait bucket some and keep them alive and healthy. It's always good when you can catch bait. I usually have pretty good luck when I catch one. It seems like it stirs up the other ones to start feeding. I just got a little nibble. See if I can throw this under the dock some. Oh, that went pretty far back. I mean, at least 4 or 5 feet. Nothing. A lot of times they hit it just as soon as it hits the water. Oh, I got a baby pinfish. I can put you down there with the crab for a second because I'm not worried about him now. I can't claw you. See if I can catch another one that size. Check my crab net real quick. Yeah. Check my bait to see if anything's happening with these. Make sure I still have some. I feel the bait on that one. It's cut bait, so sometimes just moving them around, getting them up out of the grass is enough. This does not feel promising. Felt just as promising as it was. What that little bitty one? Where is it coming? That little one's wily. There he is. I feel the other two fine. Every time I'd touch him, he was a goner. Gotta be careful of him flipping out of my fingers because he will do it. It does feel like it has bait on it now. No, it doesn't. Just almost nothing left of it, which tells me he got crabbed. There's one piece of cut bait left. It's mostly gut pocket, but we'll give it a shot. This feels like it's still got bait. I'm just hoping it had a crab attached to it. It does not. Yep. Still live pinfish. We'll send this one straight out if I can. Okay. So we know we've got good baits out. Live pinfish. Cut bait. And one of those is live and one of them's cut. Clear as mud, I hope. In my bait bucket, I've got two. One kind of too big for single bait croaker and one kind of too big for single bait pinfish. It's funny, I was going to the grocery store yesterday, pull in the parking lot. That's a couple miles down the road. And Ashley calls and tells me that I've got a fish on, and she reeled it up as far as the teeth thing, but there's a whole bunch of line left out. She doesn't know what kind of fish it is. She can't get any closer. like the teeth thing should be the sinker slide. It had rolled up good 20, 30 feet of leader and pushed that sinker slide all the way up. I mean, it hadn't rolled up. It pulled so far. So the sinker stayed where it was, and the FG knot went through it and then exposed a little bit of the mono, and it didn't want to come back through the that skinny sinker slide. So had to hand line it in. It was hard head. Retie that FG knot. I'm sitting there going, what T thing are you talking about, woman? Right rod's getting a little pull on it. And if that is that pinfish, that would be the little bitty pinfish. And I don't think he can pull that much. Maybe. Hoping here a big zing coming. Because if that is the pinfish doing that, it means something's around it that's scaring it. And no, I don't mean my face, people. How rude. Can't believe y'all'd say stuff like that. I mean, I can. But it's still rude. Let's see if I get anything out in the front here. I think it is a pinfish because I think they're the gut pocket straight out. Come on, you can do this. That's nice. Do it again. Do it again. Come on, I dare you. Do it again. Just reeled it a few times, moved bait just a little bit in case it had found a way to dig out in some grass or something. There went all my bait. Go away. Hey, Hitch. Good to see you. Yes, we're doing this again. Hey, Tara. Carp Warrior. Osama. E-Games. Old Menzies. I appreciate you guys being here. I apologize. Was bait fishing off the side. Appreciate you being here. And thank you for joining. Please like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. Did have something messing around with this right rod. Hey, Hitch, I have a treat for you, brother. Look what I caught last night on rod and reel, no less. And yes, he has been declawed because he got me. He actually would have gone free last night if he hadn't clawed me. He's getting a little less frisky in there. Give you some more water, a little fresher water. Throw those back down into the drink. My plan is to cut him up in quarters unless somebody tells me differently. All right. Yep. Oh no, this was a piece of cut bait. I thought it was a live pinfish. Which is why I was not overly concerned that he was moving a little bit. But we got her back out there. See if something wants to play with it. Yeah, you can get a better look at that crab. That is a blue crab. Both pinchers. Actually, one pincher and one leg's gone. You got the flappers in the back, 6 legs, 2 claws. It is a male. So if you can hear him gurgling, he likes to make little noises in there. Like, hello. He's a pretty good sizer. Got a bump on his head. And yes, he did draw blood. Yes, I have crabs now. Neighbor came by last night. Told him I had a crab pot out and a crab net. He said I was too deep for him. I need to go shallow, so I left the crab pot shallow last night. I've moved it deeper a couple of times. I'll go check yet. The crab net, I've got a piece of cut bait in there, and I have it hooked just so it doesn't move away. Isn't easy to steal, but it's been stolen twice already. Nothing on this one. I have a hardhead catfish. Well, it's got a pinfish that was cut in half, and wasn't getting any luck, but I caught a hardhead catfish. So I cut him in half and put him in there. I figured crabs would love that stuff. Apparently, they do not. Been checking it every 30 minutes to an hour, I guess. Oh, the size limit on blue crabs? 10 gallons. And you can't keep egg-bearing females. There's no minimum size, nothing like that. Keep 10 gallons per person per day. I think it's about time I make him bait. There ain't no point in having him if I ain't gonna use him, right? Man, these are hard. You. So I cut him down the center. I'm gonna cut him in quarters. And there he is, quartered up. Well, quartered up. Throw him in the water for just a second, rinse my hand off. Now pulling that far right piece of cut bait that was looking a little lame. Yeah, I know, I'm rinsing off the goodies. And the bucket, which is not the best way, but goodie's gonna end up getting rinsed off one way or the other, I think. Yeah. This was the gut pocket. And the guts are gone. Okay. So I'm gonna throw him out with the legs still attached. I don't know if I'm supposed to or not. So going in through the meat. And I meant to go out through the shell, but went out through the meat, but it's still very firm there. Mother. Lost it. It's hard to cast from this dock because I've got pilings in the way. Got to worry about the roof. Try this. We'll take a, I don't know. Now he's coming apart. Yeah. Now I know what the gills look like. Go through the meat, come out one of the knuckles. Try this again. Much better. So on that second piece, the top and the bottom of the shell just kind of separated on their own. Let's see. Another piece of cut pinfish that been rinsed out pretty good. A little bit of goodness still left in this shell. Come on. There it is. Got through the shell. Shells are tough. I know. Who would have thought, right? Shell tough. Say it ain't so, right? I am not sure what I'm hoping to catch off of that pieces. I'm thinking the only thing that might be interesting might be more crabs. But if there's a sheepshead around, it will definitely love that. So crab on 2 right rods, 2 center ones should have live pinfish. This one will be a bigger pinfish, and this one should be a little baby. Yeah, he was in some seagrass. I could have pulled him up and out of that stuff. I don't know if crabbing's pretty good here. Once I knew to look for them, like I saw one crawling around yesterday, or Tuesday or Wednesday. Hopefully it's only Tuesday. Yeah, it's Tuesday. I guess Sunday morning I saw one walking around out there. I was like, oh, so the crabs are out. Because I wasn't sure if they were out or not. And I've seen them before. You know, I've seen 3, 4, 5 of them just by happenstance. And last summer, I almost caught a crab. By the time I could feel some drag on it, but I couldn't figure out what it was. By the time I realized, like, oh, that's a crab. He's like, oh, that's a fat guy. And he let loose. So I was surprised that I landed the one last night. Hey, Big O. I'm down here in the intercoastal waterway down in Pensacola, and I'm targeting whatever will bite. I've caught hardhead catfish, gaff top sail cats, 2 gar, 1 sand trout. Or what I would like to catch is red drum, black drum, flounder would be awful doggone nice. Pompano, but those are going to be more surf. I would love to hook into a big jack crevalle. Not something I'd eat, but they can get pretty big and have a pretty good fight. Of course, the black drum, by the time they lose their black vertical stripes, it's about the time most people stop even wanting to eat them because they get so full of worms and parasites. Sheepshead, definitely want to catch a sheepshead. And the neighbor told me there's a bunch of mangrove snappers out here too. And I would love to catch some mangroves. Matter of fact, now that I mentioned that, a neighbor came by. He fishes a lot. And he said I was welcome to fish off his deck if I want, off his dock, because there's a over closer to his dock, there's a shelf with a drop off. And every morning, seems like every morning there's a charter out there fishing. They said, some mornings one will pull out, next will pull up. He said they catch a bunch of fish. He said, I'm surprised they haven't fished it out by now. But it's a unique piece of structure. He said the guy that had the house before him threw all kinds of stuff off the dock, like toilets and everything else. So there's structure down there. He said he'd seen some red drum recently and a sheepshead and crabs and all kinds of stuff. So I just don't want to live stream from his dock because without asking permission to do that, because the one thing I know that I have that I do not have down here that I need to go get is a measuring device, because if I catch something good, I need to make sure it's legal to keep. Saw a couple dolphins at the very beginning of the live stream. I put a short out yesterday of a dolphin I saw. He came up, just a few feet from the dock. And he saw me and just kind of rolled over a little bit on the side going, hi. Love dolphins. I'd love to see some manatees. They don't come up here very often. I actually said that our family saw a pod of them one day. Said, some of them had trackers on them and everything. Manatees they're beautiful creatures. The problem is they just ain't real bright. They run into propellers way too often. I'm pretty sure they're mammals. Something's playing with the left one. That is that crab piece. So the two bait the two bait casters have clickers, and the other two have rear drags on them. So it's not like anything's gonna get pulled into the water. So I think the manatees have to surface to get air. Which explains why they come up and, run into propellers. And while it's illegal to approach them, like, you can be in the water near them, and if they come up to you, then they come up to you. But you can't go after them. Second rod just got a little peck. That's a fairly large live pinfish, although last time I pulled him in, he was still alive, but maybe not as vigorous as he once was. But if I see a manatee, I'm probably going to try to say hi to him. I just want to scrub them. You see them; they have algae and stuff growing on. Like, let me help you out, bro. It's like, how slow do you have to move to you have algae growing on you? So I follow a few saltwater channels down here. Justin Reed Fishing is one. He fishes this area, does surf fishing mostly, if not exclusively. Like watching him, but also watch a guy from South Florida, Rad Reeling Fishing, and he was up in, I think it's called Crystal River. Anyway, it's a place where manatees hang out, where they've got, clear water, lots of grass, because that's what manatees eat. And he was trying to fish, and he was sitting there going, "These doggone manatees just won't leave me alone." I'm sitting there going, "Bro, do you know how many of us would kill to be sitting in a kayak surrounded by manatees?" Sometimes it's forest for the trees. But then, by the same token, I'm sure there are people out there going, "God, I wish these redfish would leave me alone." It's all about perspective. Sunday, I was like, "Man, I wish I'd quit catching so many dang catfish." And I'm like, if a catfish were to show up, I would say, "Hey." Still not what I want to catch, but whatever. Something. It's more than to being a flagpole sitter. Should have brought a tripod just to set my tettle on. They taste compared to, I wouldn't know. Ashley knows how to pick a crab, but I would have to catch a bunch of them so we cook them. Do not have an outdoor kitchen. No. Her dad has a fire pit that he cooks on outside some. So, we've got that available to us. Of course, the inside kitchen as well. Hey, Corrosive Springs, not a lot of luck. I see dolphin every trip here. Not every day, but every time we've been here, I've seen dolphins, and they're so cool. I mean, they really are. I think they come into this area. So because it's got barrier islands, they don't have, they don't have as much wave action pushing them around all the time. And, the bait fish will come up in these areas too. And I think that's what they're after. They're so, what's the word I'm looking for? Elegant in their movements. I mean, there were a couple of them that were splashing around earlier. I think they were playing around, but when they move, they move so fluid, and they just, they come up and then they right back down, and they move so elegantly. And there are only two things in these waters I do not want to hook up to: dolphin and manatees. Of course, manatee ain't going to try to eat my bait anyway. Dolphins, on the other hand, this is what they eat. Corrosive, I have not caught anything yet today. Hey, NJ Fishing Maniac, good to see you. Hello, Papa, exactly. Pigo, good to see you. Appreciate you guys stopping in. If you don't mind hitting the thumbs up. I'm going to be fishing the next couple of days here as well before I have to go back home. It's a decent breeze today. I think the water's as I think it's as windy today as it's been the last 2 days. Saturday, of course, that was a storm. I told it. I knocked my net filled with my salted shrimp down again, I bet. Nope, that was flowers. I'm so scared that everything I have is going to fall between these deck boards. Of course, I'm also afraid my glasses are going to fall all into the water too. So yeah. Fortunately, that hadn't happened. Although the first day I was here, every time I would look down, my glasses would fall off my head. Check my crab net. Same piece of bait, same 2 weights. Go check the crab trap over here. I can't believe I haven't got anything in the crab trap. I mean, even a pinfish that rolled sideways to get in there or something, Nothing. I was going to pour the water out of this bucket, but if I do that, then the bucket's going to go blowing off of here. I'm going to run up the house for a couple minutes. Need to get my measuring board. Maybe get one of my ultralight rigs. I think I've got one up there for pin fishing. Not that I don't have 2 rigs already rigged up, but see if I can find some little circle hooks up there as well. I think I've got some little bitty ones. Maybe try that for bait as well. So I'll leave the mic sitting here on. Okay, here we go. I'll be back. Watch the rod. I'm back. So, NJ Fishing Maniac, you know, supposed to keep the rock. Uh-oh, that could have been ugly. So I've had this I thought I had my chair tethered to the dock, and it was not. I will even fix that real quick. Because it is incredibly important. They can tether everything around here, or it will be off. Especially if I'm leaving it overnight. Now, what I can't figure out is I swear that even since I've been here, I have seen a tape measure in one of my bags. I cannot find it. And worse than that, for me, maybe not to keep y'all care. I need to focus on care a little more. Is that I bought one of these. I forget what brand makes them, but it's a fold-out scale. I think it folds out to like 36 inches, and it's got species information on it, like pictures and limits. Now, granted, you know, the limit is last year, and something could have changed, but it at least gives me some kind of a starting point. And I know for a fact that I made sure I was going to pack that. Well, my definition of making sure and your definition may not be the same, as you may have figured out. Because I can't find it. The good news is, we all know it ain't that important. Because the most important part of that entire process to needing a fish ruler is being able to, that's right, catch fish. And so far, you guys have been sucking at catching fish. I don't want to throw all the blame on you guys, but it's your fault. I mean, John Parker's a professional catfish angler, but I am a professional saltwater angler. If you're wondering exactly what I think the word professional means, yeah, don't bother. I just make it up. Appreciate you guys being here. I feel bad about not interacting more with the chat and being as peppy and engaging as Mark from NJ Fishing Maniac is. But he's up in New Jersey and he doesn't have a good view up there. So y'all are getting a good view even if he ain't getting a good personality. So yeah, what he lacks up in view, he has to make up in personality. So in short, sucks to be him. Ooh! My net actually has a ruler on it. Neener, neener, neener. I mean, I just noticed it, so there's that. I really do appreciate all you folks watching. I am trying to get my watch hours up so YouTube will pay me to do this. And by pay me, yeah, we all know how much it's going to be, like $6 a year, but whatever. So this is that crab part that I didn't have a lot of hope in. It has officially been rinsed, picked, whatever, clean. So grab my former friend the crab and cut his other half into another half.